Hey, Grandma, are your potatoes ready? Yep, they turned out delicious again this year. I've got plenty, so feel free to share some with your friends. Awesome, Grandma. Everyone loves your potatoes. They'll be thrilled. Kyle, my grandson, cheerfully ran off with a grin. He's a sixth grader who loves soccer. I'm Bella, 65 years old. I lost my husband to illness 3 years ago, but he left me enough to live comfortably on survivor benefits. My only child is my son Clive, who's 40, happily married to Lizzie and the father of young Kyle. Right now, I live alone in the apartment unit my late husband left behind. Clive and his family live next door in the same 8-unit building. We're close enough that we often share meals, making it feel like a multi-generational home. Lizzie is from Montana and has a strong sense of local pride. Being from Idaho, I can't help but feel like a rival in her eyes, and she's always trying to one-up me. My son Clive just laughs at our antics, often saying, "You two are at it again, huh?" We were a pretty normal family until a big issue arose regarding where Kyle should go for middle school. Lizzie, possibly influenced by others, wanted to enroll him in a prestigious private school. Sure, it could set him up for a top high school and college, but Kyle wanted to attend a school known for its soccer program. I wanted to respect his wishes, but Clive felt torn between Lizzie and me. One evening during dinner, Lizzie had prepared Montana-raised buffalo meat, staying true to her roots. I couldn't resist teasing. "I prefer Idaho steak, you know." "Oh, just regular beef steak," Lizzie shot back. "You're from Idaho, so of course you'd say that. What else is there in Idaho besides potatoes?" "Excuse me? Montana's got nothing but buffalo and elk." "Don't act like you're better," I replied, laughing. Clive, acting as the referee, jumped in. "Can you two cut it out? Why does it always turn into a my state's better than your state argument every time you meet?" Even our grandson Kyle chimed in, supporting both sides with his adorable smile. It's hard to believe he was born from someone as ridiculous as Lizzie. And then came the usual catchphrase at the end, "Raised on nothing but Idaho potatoes." As the dinner continued, Lizzie and I ate in silence while Clive chatted with Kyle. "So what's going on lately? You're graduating elementary school soon. Got any plans for middle school?" Clive asked. "Yeah, I'll probably go to the local middle school, but the class president, Tavan, is going to a private middle school in the city," Kyle replied. "You can go to a private school if you want," Clive suggested. "I'd rather go to a school that's good at soccer," Kyle admitted. Lizzie's eyes sparkled as she said, "Don't aim for being a jock. Focus on your studies, get into a good college, and become a senior-level government official. You'll have a stable income, and I can rest easy." "But I want to be a Major League Soccer player," Kyle protested. "Oh, a soccer player, huh?" I chimed in. "Most athletes retire before they're 40. A stable government job is way better than gambling on a sports career." "But I really love soccer. I want to play in middle and high school, whether I turn pro or not," Kyle insisted. "Forget about that. You should be aiming for a prestigious private middle school. You'll be on the right track to an elite life," Lizzie argued. Clive, starting to agree with Lizzie, added, "I get it. Stability is valuable these days." I knew I had to hold the fort for Kyle. "What's important is how Kyle feels, and we should respect that," I said. "So you're saying it's okay if Kyle doesn't go to college?" Lizzie shot back. "It's only natural for parents to want their child to go to college, right? So Grandma, maybe you shouldn't interfere too much with our decisions." Clive stepped in again. "We're responsible for Kyle's future. So Mom, we'll consider your opinion, but don't push too hard." Oh my, it seemed like a win for Lizzie. But the silver lining was when Kyle said to me, "Grandma, you really do think about me, don't you? Thanks so much." I felt like crying when I heard those words from my grandson. Darn it, I couldn't back down now. I thought as I bit into the slightly overcooked and charred buffalo meat, muttering to myself, you got this, like a mantra. But from that day on, Lizzie's behavior changed abruptly. Kyle stopped coming to my room to hang out, and Lizzie forbade him from entering. Soon after, Kyle began attending more after-school tutoring sessions at a cram school that specialized in preparing kids for private middle schools. Naturally, this wasn't cheap. Clive had gone to a decent college and worked at an okay company, but he hadn't climbed the corporate ladder due to his timid personality. Their income was average, and while we didn't have to worry much about housing expenses, sending Kyle to a private school would be a stretch. I could sense that they were planning to have me foot the bill. I mean, we're stretched thin as it is. If you care about your grandson, maybe you can help us out. Lizzie was bound to say that sooner or later. Then one day, Lizzie came into my room holding some snacks. The afternoon was drifting by, but there was definitely tension in the air. As I crunched on one of the cookies she brought, Lizzie started. So about Kyle. What about him? You told me not to interfere, remember? I replied, keeping my tone neutral. Yes, but private middle school is expensive. Clive's salary won't cover it, Lizzie said, her voice strained. We went back and forth, each trying to maintain the upper hand. This isn't new information, Lizzie. You knew this already. What's going on? You're college educated, aren't you? I confronted her, fully prepared for a showdown. True, but times are tough. The cost of living keeps rising. I might need to find part-time work, Lizzie replied, her tone uncertain. Was she trying to bluff? I wondered. Well, you're young, Lizzie. Kyle is growing up. Maybe it's good for you to go out and work. I tried to counter bluff. But a part-time job won't bring in much money. I want something more stable, Lizzie retorted, frustration creeping into her voice. I had enough of the beating around the bush. So what if we use the income from this apartment to cover Kyle's tuition? I asked directly. Why are you discussing this with me? Isn't this something your own family should discuss? I responded, my voice tinged with disbelief. That's when I saw a glint in Lizzie's eyes. What if we rent out your room, Bella? Then we could use that extra rent to help pay for Kyle's school, she suggested. You want me to leave? Does Clive agree with this? I felt like my breath had been taken away. You have a pension, Bella. You're doing fine, so if you agree to cover Kyle's tuition, you can stay. Otherwise, we'll need you to move, she said, her voice cold. This is so sudden. What do you expect me to do? I stammered, struggling to process her words. Don't you love Kyle? Think about his future. It's either you leave or help with the expenses. We need an answer soon. Kyle's exams have already started, Lizzie added before leaving my room with a triumphant look on her face. Once she was gone, I remembered how to breathe again. I loved my grandson Kyle, of course. I wasn't neglecting the issue at all. When I thought about it being for my grandson, Lizzie's perspective did somewhat make sense. Still, I'm not someone who just nods along easily. I pondered what the best course of action would be. Kyle was about to hit adolescence, and I'd noticed he had been acting a certain way around his childhood friend, Vicky. I'll use Vicky as bait to see what happens, I thought. One day, I came across Vicky and Lizzie chatting in the park. Lizzie was doing most of the talking, with Vicky just nodding from time to time. Finally, it seemed like they had a real conversation, and Lizzie left with a smile, patting Vicky on the head. I approached Vicky after Lizzie had walked away. Vicky, oh, Kyle's grandma. Hi there. Vicky's face lit up when she saw me. It's been a while. With graduation coming up for you, you must be busy, huh? I asked. Yeah. Kyle's mom just suggested that maybe I should go to the same school as Kyle, Vicky replied. Really? Well, Kyle hasn't made up his mind yet. He's so indecisive, I said, testing the waters. Really? Kyle's mom said he's set to go to the prestigious Phillips Academy. She thinks I should go there too, Vicky shared, her voice filled with uncertainty. So Lizzie and I have the same opinion, I mused. Do you want to go to the same school as Kyle? I asked. If I can, I would love to go to the same school. But I'm not as smart as Kyle, Vicky admitted, looking down. The innocent heart of a young girl. I remember feeling the same way at her age. Kyle hasn't decided on Phillips Academy. He's more into soccer. My guess is he'll probably opt for Noble and Greenway School, I told her. Really? If it's that school, I might stand a chance. Vicky's eyes sparkled with hope. Yes, Grandma doesn't lie, I assured her. Vicky looked down again. But Kyle's mom told me that if I get into Phillips Academy, it would make Kyle happy, so I should try my best. No, it's the other way around, I said gently. Lizzie wants to use you to get Kyle into a prestigious school. Kyle likes you, so Lizzie thinks if you go there, it'll motivate him. Kyle likes me, is that true? Vicky blushed at my words, her face glowing with excitement. The purity of youth. It reminds me of my own teenage years, I thought. He doesn't hold my hand anymore. He's been mean, doing things like throwing balls at me and pulling my hair. Vicky confessed. Well, that's how you know he likes you. Boys his age are basically silly. They can't say they like you, so they act mean to get attention, I explained, smiling. Really? Vicky asked, her eyes wide with disbelief. Yes, really. At your age, girls mature faster than boys, so while you're growing up, the boys are still kids. I've had similar experiences when I was your age, I assured her. I see, so when Kyle is mean to me, I should just smile and say, "You're such a kid." Huh? Vicky asked, a small smile forming on her lips. He'll start being nicer once he knows you won't react to his teasing, I added. Okay, thanks, Grandma. Vicky beamed at me. You're welcome. Thank you for caring about Kyle. I think you two will be together for a long time, I said warmly. Then, bending down to whisper in Vicky's ear, I added, and besides, Grandma would be delighted if you became Kyle's wife. Vicky's face turned even redder as she stammered, No, wait. Maggie. But well, you're going to turn out to be a wonderful woman, Vicky. Mark my words, I said, smiling at her. Thanks, Grandma. Vicky waved her hand and headed home. Watching her leave made me feel nostalgic, even though I was 65. Later, during dinner, Lizzie brought up the subject again. So Kyle, it seems Vicky might be going to Phillips Academy too. Maybe you should consider it if she's going, Lizzie hinted at Kyle. It doesn't matter. She can do whatever she wants, Kyle replied, not looking up from his plate. You like Vicky, don't you? Wouldn't it be nice to go to the same school? Lizzie persisted. I don't like her. She's annoying, Kyle shot back. Really? You both said you'd get married back in kindergarten. Why not go to the same middle school? Lizzie pushed, a bit too eagerly. What are you talking about? That was just child's play. You're crazy, Mom. Kyle exclaimed, frustration creeping into his voice. Don't you think Vicky's parents would be happy? You two have been together since kindergarten. Lizzie continued, undeterred. Are we talking about marriage or middle school? Kyle asked, clearly exasperated. Both. I would be happy to, Lizzie responded, her tone softening. Kyle was firm. I have dreams for the future, and I want to go to a prestigious school known for soccer. Lizzie's voice grew anxious. Well, that worries me. My life, my choice. My dream is to win the World Cup, Kyle declared, his voice full of determination. That's so unrealistic. Only a few become pros. Lizzie retorted, her voice rising. So following your logic, I'd definitely be happy. You're deciding my life for me? No thanks, Kyle shot back, crossing his arms. How could you say that? I'm only thinking about your well-being, Lizzie said, her voice quivering. Then support my dream. I want you to root for me, Kyle replied, his voice softer but still resolute. In response to Kyle's feelings, I decided to step in. I'll support you, Kyle. You learned to kick a ball before you could throw one. You can totally be a soccer player. Thanks, Grandma, Kyle said, smiling for the first time during the conversation. Don't forget to focus on your studies. Soccer isn't just physical. Clive joined in, offering his support. I will. I have to speak Spanish if I want to play overseas, Kyle replied, his excitement returning. How wonderful, my dear grandson. I beamed at him. In the midst of this lively discussion, only Lizzie was mumbling something under her breath. Kyle then mentioned something interesting. Vicky recently developed an interest in soccer. How amazing. If he joined the U.S. men's national team and Vicky the women's, I thought, amused by the idea. Just as I was lost in this thought, Lizzie came into my room. Bella, it's about Kyle, Lizzie started, her voice tense. What happened? I asked, already weary of where this conversation might lead. It's about the tuition for his private middle school. We talked about this before, remember? Lizzie said, her voice growing more assertive. I told you no. You and Clive can pay for it. Maybe get a part-time job, I responded firmly. Lizzie looked distressed. I'm emotionally fragile, so dealing with workplace relationships would probably make me sick. I doubt I could handle a job. What was she talking about? She's thick-skinned enough to aim for my savings, I thought to myself, growing more irritated. So it's pretty much down to two options here. Either you pay, or we move out to increase the rent income. Lizzie declared, her tone sharp. I'm sorry, but it's a parent's job to take care of their child. You both are parents, and you can't even raise one kid. You're failing as parents, I said, not holding back. If you have time to say that, then I'd like you to leave this room, Lizzie shot back, her patience clearly wearing thin. Bella, You have enough assets to live comfortably even if you move out, right? Why don't you consider a senior home? I'm not going to take care of you. Don't worry, I never planned on asking you anyway, I replied, keeping my voice calm. I thought you'd say that, so I've already made arrangements, Lizzie said, pulling out a stack of brochures from her bag. Arrangements? I asked, my curiosity piqued. Lizzie then placed the brochures on the table. These are nursing home brochures. Pick one and move out, will you? I'm sorry, but I have no plans to move, I replied, my voice steady. Don't you care about your grandchild? Lizzie asked, her tone accusatory. I'm here because I do care about my grandchild. Kyle is a good kid. He appreciates me and loves the roasted potatoes I make, I said, my voice softening as I thought of Kyle. It's because he eats those potatoes all the time that he thinks Idaho is some backwater place, Lizzie snapped. Says someone from Montana, where they only have buffalo, I countered, unable to resist the jab. Just then, we heard Kyle's voice. Grandma, I'm home, he called out. Kyle had returned home at the perfect moment. Ah, Kyle, welcome home. Lizzie, still irritated, asked, Why do you go to Grandma's instead of coming home? Because you don't give me snacks, but Grandma gives me roast potatoes, Kyle replied, completely unaware of the tension in the room. Gosh dang it, Lizzie muttered under her breath, clearly frustrated. I couldn't help but smile as I smugly served some roasted potatoes. Here you go, I made some today too. This is it. Even my friends say Idaho potatoes are a great snack. They're sweet, filling, and good for you, Kyle said, enjoying the food. Yep, they're rich in dietary fiber. They help strengthen your stomach so you can enjoy all kinds of food, I added, feeling proud. Oh, no wonder I enjoy Mom's food more. It's not that she got better at cooking, Kyle said innocently, making Lizzie bristle. Gosh dang it, Lizzie muttered again. Go on, Kyle, keep it up, I encouraged him. Lizzie, clearly at her wits' end, said, Anyway, I'll discuss this matter with my husband, so please have a decision by next time. With that, she stormed out of the room. Then, one day, I saw Kyle and Vicky at the park. Kyle was teaching Vicky how to play soccer, both of them chasing the ball with smiles on their faces. Lizzie suddenly appeared and approached me. She looked mad, as if she was snorting angrily. Bella, where have you been? She demanded. Just out shopping. Why? I replied, sensing trouble. Please be prepared for an important conversation after dinner tonight, Lizzie said, her voice tight with barely contained anger. Okay, I said, watching her leave, even angrier than before. I was dumbfounded by her sudden rage. Kyle and Vicky then came over. What happened? Are you fighting with Mom again? Kyle asked, concerned. Well, it shows how close we are, I said, trying to downplay the situation. I think she wants to talk about your future, Kyle. So what do you really want to do? I asked, genuinely curious about his aspirations. After thinking about it, Kyle finally made up his mind. I'd like to go to Noble and Greenway School. All right, I said, smiling warmly. Leave it to Grandma. You'll make it to the U.S. men's team for sure. Vicky, who had been listening intently, chimed in with encouragement. And I'll make it onto the U.S. women's team. You could definitely make it, Kyle. Kyle smiled but teased her gently. You still have a long way to go though, Vicky. That's why I'm going to practice a lot. I'm even thinking about going to Noble and Greenway Middle School, Vicky replied, her determination shining through. Me too. It'd be great if we could go there together. Kyle agreed, though his voice held a hint of uncertainty. I couldn't help but chuckle at the exchange. Come on, kiddo, you're a bit dense. Get a clue about Vicky's feelings, I thought to myself. Then I said aloud, Anyway, dinner's almost ready. How about we call it a day? Okay, Vicky said with a smile. All right then, Kyle's grandma. Goodbye. Vicky waved as she headed home. That evening, after a mostly silent dinner, Lizzie finally broached the subject that had been hanging in the air. So Bella, you said you'd support Kyle. What does that mean exactly? Talk is cheap, Well, firstly, getting him the soccer gear he needs, I began. And I guess Kyle wants to go to Noble and Greenway School. It's a private school, so it's going to cost quite a bit. Lizzie seemed to be processing my words, and I felt a bit relieved when she responded, If you're supporting him, then the least you could do is help with tuition. So I'll just say it. Please move out. Excuse me? I exclaimed, taken aback. Lizzie pressed on, her voice growing more assertive. The owner of this apartment is your son Clive, right? Which means we have the right to tell tenants to leave. I can't tolerate your interference in our lives anymore, Bella. Really? You sure you want to say that to me? What's gotten into you, acting all tough? I asked, trying to rein in my frustration, but it was time to stop Lizzie's nonsense. Are you really saying all this for Kyle? Weren't you losing the mom rivalry at his elementary school? Getting jealous that a rival mom's kid is going to a top private middle school. So now you're pushing Kyle to go to Phillips Academy. Lizzie's face flushed as I continued. Plus, I've heard you've been overspending on clothes, jewelry, lunches, and parties. So you're short on money and want me to cover tuition, right? Gosh dang it, Lizzie muttered, clearly agitated. I heard you've been secretly using credit cards, even borrowing from sketchy sources to make the payments, I added, my voice firm. How did you? Lizzie stammered, her composure slipping. Just like you have mom friends, I have grandma friends. We gossip about our daughters-in-law and sons. And let's just say I'm the boss grandma around here. News travels fast in this neighborhood. Don't underestimate seniors. We can use smartphones too, you know. Lizzie's frustration was palpable as she muttered again. Gosh dang it. What's the big deal? Clive inherited from Grandpa, and he owns this apartment. A little reckless spending won't hurt us. Lizzie shot back, trying to regain control. Just then, Kyle spoke up. Hold on, Mom. You're mistaken. Kyle. Lizzie looked surprised. I could hear you because you were arguing so loudly while I was trying to study, Kyle said, sitting down and crossing his legs, looking quite exasperated. What is he, an old man? I thought, amused by his serious demeanor. What's this mistake you're talking about? Kids shouldn't interfere in adult conversations, Lizzie scolded him. But you're fighting about me, right? I'm involved, so I should get a say. Kyle countered, his voice steady. Don't you talk back to me, Lizzie snapped, but Kyle remained calm. All right, he said, placating her. But Mom, you've got it wrong on several fronts. What are you talking about? What's wrong? Lizzie asked, her voice faltering. Listen, Dad isn't the landlord of this apartment. The landlord is Grandma. Dad told me. That's how I know. Kyle explained. Seriously. Lizzie's face drained of color. And Dad knows about the money issue too. He said we'll be out of credit soon, Kyle added. Oh, that's a problem, Lizzie muttered, her panic growing. Exactly. So there it is. I always knew you were bad with money. But I didn't expect you to be in debt, Kyle said bluntly. At that moment, Clive walked in looking somber. Yes, Mom told me all about it recently. After a lot of thought, this is what I've decided, he said, handing over divorce papers. Lizzie stared at the papers, her face pale. I can't live with you anymore. I don't want Kyle around a mother who's using him to keep up appearances. Both Kyle and my mom agree. I don't want to be with someone who sees me as just a tool either. I'm good as long as I have Grandma and Dad, Clive said, his voice resolute. Hearing this from her husband and child, Lizzie hung her head, speechless. So we're getting a divorce. I'll split the assets fairly, but I can't cover the debt you've accumulated. That's on you, Clive continued. But as for the inheritance from my father, I won't get much since Mom is still alive. And don't you dare shatter Kyle's dreams for the sake of your ego. A parent's job is to push their children forward, not hold them back. Bam. Decision made. Lizzie sat down as if the wind had been knocked out of her. A while later, the divorce became official, and Lizzie moved out of the apartment. She's reportedly working in a factory in Idaho to pay back a suspicious loan. She's broke and surviving on potatoes. Karma is real. She's being saved by the Idaho potatoes she once mocked. When fall came around, Kyle started school at Noble and Greenway, just as he had hoped. Kyle, who had been a soccer star since elementary school, was welcomed warmly. Vicky also made it into the same school. Congratulations on getting in, Vicky. It's great you'll be at the same school as Kyle, I said, genuinely happy for her. Thank you. Because you encouraged me, I was able to work hard. Thank you so much, Vicky replied, her gratitude evident. You did it because you worked hard. So are you joining the girls' soccer team? I asked. No, it seems a bit much for me, but I plan on becoming the boys' team manager, Vicky answered, her voice shy but excited. Well, that sounds good too. Please take care of Kyle, I said, feeling a sense of pride. Yes, of course, Vicky said, blushing as she looked down. Ah, the beginning of their teenage years. Hey, Vicky, let's go sign up for the soccer club. Kyle called out. Coming, Vicky replied, hugging me quickly before running off. Well, Kyle, you go chase your dreams. I hope you'll win the World Cup while I'm still around. That way, I can brag about you to Grandpa, I thought as I watched them go, feeling a deep sense of contentment.